Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Steel. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Without further ado, here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group. Thanks for downloading the Grow Show, powered by Steel. Today we have Seth Pflum in the Steel Studios, and we're going to be discussing the changing culture we've made here at Grunder Landscaping Company and our focus on creating opportunities for our team. But first, a reminder, you can get the latest edition of the Grow Show delivered to your phone, tablet, or computer by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, or watch us on YouTube for an enhanced learning experience. The Grow Show is the greatest thing since playing records, folks. My kids got me a turntable for Father's Day, and I had it hooked up in my home office to my speakers that I have in there, and it has been awesome. My daughter gave me an Eric Church album, and that one has been awesome to play on it. But what's really been fun, folks, has been going through all my old records. The Kinks, Rush, Van Halen, and The Who, just to name a few. But I've also had a blast listening to all my late father's old records. Roger Whittaker, Andy Williams, Emmylou Harris, Johnny Cash, the Monkees, and even some Scottish bagpipe albums. There's something about music that brings back memories to us, folks, and this has been a blast. Now on to this week's episode of The Grow Show. Seth, you're our company president here at Grunder. Many folks, we get a lot of comments when we bring you on, so I roped you in. I know we're in the middle here of our fall rush trying to sell, but so I appreciate you taking some time with us. We've gone through a significant amount of change here the last several years, and you've helped us grow tremendously in your tenure. First was as general manager, then moved up to COO, then last May, were named company president, and you truly are running the entity now. And I, in many ways, work for you. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but I'm here to support you and help. So talk a little bit about the journey that you've led us through here the last couple of years and the changes that we've made.
I think the biggest thing is just, and it sounds simple, and you've heard me say this before, I got to talk louder because you talk loud.
I do. Sorry. Yeah, so you're right.
It is keeping it simple, and we had to get out of our own way and realize it was ourselves holding ourselves back from growing.
Right.
We didn't look at molehill and make it a mountain.
Right.
We didn't say, oh, the world's coming to an end because we have one upset client, or we had a truck breakdown. It wasn't
right
the end of the world.
Right.
Or, hey, we're short on sales. We're going to have to pull back on some OT. It's not in the world. We'll figure it out.
Right.
And I think that was the biggest culture shift, is the finger pointing stopped.
Right.
And it was more of a team atmosphere to grow.
Right.
Accepting the changes and challenges that come with growth, that it's not going to be easy. I think that was the largest change we had here.
I want to cite back to something. We went, if I remember correctly, we went live with Aspire in January of 2020.
Yes. Correct.
We agreed to purchase Aspire in October of 2019. I wasn't live then.
You might have been.
Yeah, might have been. I am getting old. I was referred to as the old, what was it, the old guy with white hair?
Yeah, the old guy.
Yeah. We had an employee, and somebody said, "Did you hear Marty speak?" And he said, "You mean the old guy with white hair?"
Yeah.
So that affected my psyche a little bit, but I've obviously overcome it. But I remember when we went to implement it, and I remember you were talking to me and the rest of the leadership team, and you said, none of us will complain about Aspire. We will not allow that negativity to go out. We will go and we will make it work. Tell me, because that speaks to what you're talking about. Why did you say that? And that did pay dividends for us.
I like to find the positive out of every situation. I'm not a optimistic person per se.
Yeah.
I'm probably more of a realist.
Pragmatic
but
guy.
The pragmatic nature in me that says, if you're going to talk bad, you're going to act bad, you're going to treat people bad.
Yeah.
And if you say negative things, it becomes thoughts. Then it becomes your attitude.
Right.
So on and so forth. So I tried just to abolish that from my verbiage and my train of thought.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure the rest of the team hopefully understood that and got on board with it.
Well,
and if we were going to complain about what Aspire didn't do,
Right.
we're never going to see what it actually does.
Right.
And ultimately, let's say, and we're using Aspire as an example, just because the one button is at the bottom left-hand corner and to us it doesn't make sense. We want it to the top. Is that what's really holding our company back from growing?
Right.
No. It's our ability to serve our clients, work as a team, grow as a team, to serve more clients and provide more for our team.
And I know when you got here, because this is your 11th year here, we were told by some of our team, nice people, your building's too small. We'll never find people that want to do that kind of work. This isn't a place for somebody to have a career at. You can probably think of many other little mantras. And I think when you get around enough people and you allow those kinds of things to be said, it's almost like people start believing them. Like I've said on the Grow Show and from the stage publicly, like I didn't grow Grunder because I started believing some of that stuff. Now that's nobody's fault but mine. I should have risen above that. And you helped me rise above that by seeing a different way, by having a person that, together we could go and make things better.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
Every situation, and I'm a huge believer you have 100% control of every situation you're in. First, you train your mindset of it.
Change your mindset.
Find the positive. There's positive in
everything. Yep.
Everything. There's a positive. I've shared my grandmother's funeral with you. It was the first time, because I come from a large family. It was the first time all the cousins were together in years. So that's a positive.
Yeah.
So there's always a positive, even in not fun situations.
Right. And it's hard.
And it's hard to find it, but find it.
But leaders find it.
And I challenge everyone here to always find a positive in everything. We learned something. Even if if something didn't go right, we learned something.
There's no question.
Yeah. So find that positive and then communicate how you want to be the change to the situation. Own the situation. Don't say, well, it's not my job, it's your job to figure it out, Marty.
Right.
Did I ever say that to you?
No, never.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
no.
Well, I'm not sure, but you know what, Marty? I'll figure it out, or we'll figure it out. And third, you remove yourself. I think all too often, a lot of team members or even people just jump to the third too often.
They give up.
They just give up.
Leave.
So we're leaving.
Yeah.
But exercise the two first ones to your fullest extent and potential.
So mindset,
and be a solution to it.
Be a solution. Yeah. And that is so true. Let's talk about the monthly grow meetings that you've implemented. Why did you do that? What are they all about? And I don't think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think they have had a dramatic impact on our culture because of the transparency, but that's me. Why did you do that? And what is your opinion of the grow meetings, our monthly meetings where we get the whole company together?
So the grow meeting came out of a team member survey, 2018.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of communication of where we're going, what the next plans were, what was happening elsewhere in the company. And that's when we were, 4 million?
4 million.
Four and a half.
Right.
And that's why we said, well, we can change that pretty easily by doing one meeting a month and sharing how we're doing our financial performance, what marketing plans that we have coming up, everyone's birthday, their anniversaries.
Who got promoted?
Who was promoted, new team members that have come on.
Good surveys, all that stuff.
Pictures of team members' jobs that they're working on, because Sherry and Amanda, who are working in the office, they don't get to see the work completed all the time, so they're able to see it. What else did we share?
We've talked about our plans for Grunder Green. I remember when we rolled that out. We built a new building for Grunder Green. We rolled that out. We talked about the trucks we were going to get.
Sales performance.
Right. I think there's a little bit for everyone in the meeting.
We try to. I try to make sure we stay very consistent with our message and stay consistent on the flow of information that we do. As you know, I change it up every now and again.
Right.
But I want to make sure we're always recognizing everyone on the team.
Right.
Because it takes the entire team to grow.
It does.
And to me, I felt like it's brought more cohesion with the team, and the team coming together, because now everyone's kind of somewhat on the same page of what we're doing.
And it's 30 minutes. I think a couple of them have been an hour when we had a bunch, but for the most part, it's in the 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah. It's about 20 slides. Most of them are same format. You do a lot of the teaching. You call on people to contribute. We mix everyone up in the room.
Yeah. You present really well. And one thing that I like to do, and I said this at Grow last year, it seems weird I'm at a conference presenting,
Yeah.
but I like it to be a team.
Yes.
That's why I call on
Right.
team members constantly. To
Right.
make sure they're part
Pay
of
attention.
well,
Right.
part of the presentation,
Right.
and know that their feedback is valued, paying attention, and they're
Yeah.
awake and early in the morning. But I think if they hear Bill say it differently than
It
me, it
means
carries
more
more
than what
impact.
me or you
If
say.
even
So
Nick
true.
Friedrich, who's the team leader, says it, it's
Yeah.
going to be different than
Yeah.
if I'm up there saying
Yeah.
it. So that's why I like to make sure we're all contributing in that, and I view myself just as facilitating the monthly meeting.
I don't know if I've ever told you this. My favorite part of that meeting is when we talk about the promotions and the anniversaries and people clap.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like a little bit of a revival. Like it's a pretty cool little thing. So look, folks, we're talking to Seth Pflum, president of Grunder Landscaping Company, here today on the Grow Show powered by Steel. What's your favorite part about the Grow meetings that we do once a month?
Being able to recognize the team.
Yeah.
Be able to recognize the achievements we've made, and hopefully be able to communicate how everyone on the team has helped make that work.
And that's so true. And you do a really nice job of that. Prior to, I think it was about I lose track of time. When did we change our mission statement?
It was
3 years ago?
It'll be 3 years ago,
Yeah.
November 2021.
I don't know how you remember this. Thank God for your photographic memory. But our mission.
Recall dates?
Yeah, no, Rain Man here at work. But our mission statement is to create opportunities for a team to grow and succeed by enhancing the beauty and value of every client's property while exceeding their expectations every step of the way. You can have words on a piece of paper like that, and it can be an aspirational mission statement, like we're going to do that. But if you don't get results, people can tune out anything that you say. And that's why I like talking about the promotions and the anniversaries. We don't just have one example of somebody that came in here starting on labor and now is in a managerial position. We have probably 10.
Yeah, I need to go through and count them all now.
Well, we could. Yeah. I mean, we've got 2 people on the leadership team.
Yeah.
That for sure, Brian and Dalton, that came in. I mean, Dalton
Bill,
was an intern. You talked Bill,
Lorenzo, Amanda,
right?
Brad,
right?
Brandon,
Brent Grolnick. So there, and that's what's cool. Like it's no longer, oh, that's just Marty and Seth with their words. Nobody here is ever going to do that. You're going to be pulling weeds the rest of your life. No, you're not. If you come in here and believe in what we're doing and put the effort forth, there truly is opportunities. We're going to open up a second location. Yeah. We'll talk about that in the future. There are opportunities. I think people are understanding that. They're getting excited about it.
And the key is communicating the next steps and making sure you communicate in a manner that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fast, and they're not going to be necessarily
be honest about it. Right.
I mean, has anything really gone as planned in the last 3 years?
No,
if you think about it,
no.
I mean, if you could look back and look on it as from a negative, but if I look back, I kind of laugh and I scroll through our old leadership agendas. I'm like, well, we were on the right track. We were focused on the right things, but it sure as heck did not go in the order we thought it was going to.
Right.
But it's worked out, and I think it's also developing that culture that it is fluid. We had a recap of our summer floral push last week or the week before. Amanda came to me and said she'd like to do one, and it was later. And one thing Brent Grolnick said like 4 times in there, it's a lot of fluidity, because what worked this year is not going to work next year. Right. So I think when I managed it was like $30,000 worth of floral, and this year I managed first year was like $105,000. So I can't even kind of comprehend that.
Tripled in size.
Tripled
the money we're spending on annuals.
Yes, on just summer annuals.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to hear and see the team say it's fluid, and we know things didn't go perfect.
Right.
We're going to adjust this next year, but we also next year need to accept it's going to be a little fluid too, because we have big growth plans again next year.
Right.
It's going to not be the same as this year.
Right.
And it's being okay with that. Because you and I are perfectionists.
Right.
I mean, just walk around here.
Yeah.
We
both got issues
on cleanliness.
Yeah.
Telling Sherry today on like the light covers, the dust.
Yeah, exactly.
It settles there.
Yes.
But if we're going to perfect the organization and say, then we're going to grow, we're never going to grow.
No. And that's,
because,
I mean, I don't mind. That's what was wrong.
Because I'm going to change, you're going to change,
right.
our clients' wants and needs are going to change, what the team members want,
right.
the value changes. So we always have to be adapting to that.
Right. So leadership is what makes a difference here. What do you look for in a leader? Like, you had a couple people that when you took over as general manager, you said, I want to put this person on the leadership team. And I had doubts about it, but I told you were in charge and I let you do it and it worked out. What do you look for in a leader?
The first is the desire.
Okay.
That in their desire to do more or be more, and they demonstrate it. They're not just saying it. They put the extra time in. They come up with ideas. It's one thing to apply for an internal job, but you never talk about it, or you say you want to go to the next step, but when we ask you to lead stretches in the morning, you don't step out in a circle. How are you going to work with 25, 30 people and have to stand with the
we're out on a snow removal event and you decide to go home versus sticking out and trying to help us finish up.
Things are telltale to me. I mean, I can look around the circle, and the ones that walk multiple steps out into the front to lead the stretches, they're the leaders.
That's a leader, right?
They're wanting to set the tone. They're not afraid of it. They want to do it. And I look for little signs like that, really.
We've done a lot of work. No, well, that's good. No, that's a big part of leadership. I mean, I'm a good talker. If you listen to me, you'd probably think I'm the greatest leader in the world. Now, I'd like to think when you watch me, I back that up. But some people are only good at talking. Like, they're not good at doing. And some people are good at doing. They're not good at talking. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, Brian Davis is not a loud guy, but he's certainly a leader. I mean, what he's done for Grunder Green, and I mean, you and I we don't have a skill set that fits working on lawns like he does. I mean, he's turned into quite the technician with that. He's really done a nice job as a leader there.
And understanding grass, agronomist, not what his degree's in, but I put his knowledge up against a lot of industry professionals of what he's learned and how dedicated he is to it. When he loves that part of it, and then when it comes to the systems of how it's going to work, that's kind of where I come in.
Right.
I mean, so it works well.
Right. It does. We've done a lot of work with Tracy and Megan on StrengthsFinder.
Uncomfortable work sometimes.
Yeah, very. Yeah. And I think what's interesting there is, we're not working with DISC and Wonderlic and all these other things. We've kind of gone all in on one. Why are we doing that? And what do you think StrengthsFinders has done so far for our team?
And so everyone knows, Megan and Tracy are doing one a quarter with us for the leadership team this year, because I reached out to them and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
We'll make sure their information's in the show notes too.
I said I want to make sure that we're growing continually as leaders.
Right.
Because ultimately that's what's going to end up throttling back the growth.
Right.
If we're not improving ourselves and changing and understanding ourselves and how we communicate and understanding other strengths. And I don't want to use too many words because I feel like I'm going to butcher them, but like the triggers, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
that was enlightening to me, right?
Yeah. How when we're communicating with someone of a different strengths set, how our communication style might trigger them, and then it's still. I mean, it's a concrete wall.
I think I told you,
and there's no communication happening, and then stuff like that we need to be aware of and understand. And when we're role playing, it's not comfortable,
and we do it online. It works. Yeah, it works really well. And I remember my shout out, my takeaway was, this is really ignorant for me to say, but when you said there's things that you do that trigger other people, I was like, well, of course, why have I got to wake up. I got to pay more attention to what might trigger you or someone. Like, I got to be more sensitive. I got to be more aware. I got to be a better leader there. I've gotten a lot out of it myself.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot out of it. And it's also respecting others' strengths and looking at it through a lens, and Tracy and Megan said a lot better than myself, looking at it through their strength lens. How are they putting value on this situation? What value do they bring? And it's not because, let's say engagement, Dalton and I have realtor,
funny.
relator.
Relator.
It's one of our top ones. Those are high engagement strengths. But there's also, I'm trying to think of a different engagement strength. But just because, let's say communication, so we relate differently than how they're going to relate and engage with team members. There's no right or wrong of doing it. And it's being very aware of that.
You know, I think what's helped me the most with the StrengthsFinder is it's, first of all, we have a nice complement in the team. And it's helped me understand and see someone in a better light. I think it's enabled me to work with them better. And you start to see that it takes all types. Like if our whole company was nothing but maximizers, my activator is my number one strength. If it was nothing but that, you're creating things all day long, but you're not getting anything. There's stuff's not getting done too. Yeah. Okay. That wouldn't be good. If we only had strategic people that said, well, we've got to think everything out perfectly before I don't need any more ideas. That's not good either. So it's the balance. And the thing with StrengthsFinder is there's no right or wrong answer. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think it makes you a better manager and a leader. The one thing that Tracy and Megan have taught us, and they put on this presentation at Grow, that I think develops leaders better than anything I've seen is that take the monkey. Can you just explain that real quick?
Don't take the monkey.
I know, don't take the monkey.
Oh, okay. Take that. You said take
well,
the
I
monkey.
said take the monkey. I meant don't take the monkey. Yeah, good correction. Why I feel that's a really important development as a leader because you're trying to make other leaders. Why is that? Tell me, because I know you think it's fantastic.
It was the best session I sat in years. Yep. And I remember texting you.
Yes.
This was the best
We got to do this.
And I took so many points away. I don't want to give out all my tricks on here.
Right.
But and I've been guilty of this, and Dalton has told me this all the time. Sometimes why does everybody come to me to answer these questions? And he goes, you're kind of the easy button because you just give it the answer right away. And it wasn't until Megan and Tracy were talking. And I'm like, well, I'm not developing anyone by just always giving them the answer. That's the point I wanted to get across.
And
I'm like, I'm so busy and I can't.
It's quicker for me just to tell them what to do.
Do this, and this, and move on.
And leave me alone.
And yes. But versus not taking that monkey and working with them through a decision process on their own, that then they can work with more autonomy in their job descriptions.
Yep.
Hopefully I'm worded that well.
No, you are. And I think it's even that way with parenting. Like sometimes you just want to tell your kid, and my kids are all grown. Yours are still somewhat young and malleable minds. But I'm sure with your son, there's things that might be easier for you just to tell them. But I know, like I've seen some projects where you've made some boards and you've built things with them. I'm sure you could do a better job, but how's he going to learn if he doesn't?
If
he's not doing it,
and that's leadership and decision making is practice,
right?
Your mind is a muscle, and continually making decisions on your own strengthens your decision making abilities. And I think we've all, as managers, said, "Oh, we don't have time." And if everybody thinks like myself, and I've been guilty of that, first, that's never going to happen, and that's a flawed way of thinking. And I can only do it this way.
So true.
And it needs to be done that way. I'm, like I've said many times, I'm okay. You get to 9, 5 plus 4, and I'm 6 plus 3. Dalton's 7 plus 2. We're all using a simple addition. Now, when we start dividing and multiplying to get to 9, then we're having a discussion. But if we're using simple addition, getting to the same end result,
let it go.
Right. It works.
Right.
And that's been big with Don't Take the Monkey, because to only get from 5 to 9 is coaching and teaching how to do that addition.
And I think
those decision processes.
Yeah. And I think we could all think back to a time where, like I know my dad was a brilliant mechanic. I was not. And I'm sure I did some things that he was like, I wouldn't do it that way, but I did it and it got done. And how good did I feel when he said, no, you fixed it. Good job. And he didn't say like, well, that's not what I would have done, but you got lucky. It was, no, it's fixed. And we build people up and we do that. Okay, a couple more questions. Sales is our main focus right now. That's the only thing between us and success right now, as far as I think you'd agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the team, we got the trucks, we got the facility. Sales have been harder to come by this year than they have in the prior years. We're hustling. And what are we doing?
I think, I just want to hit on this because 2020, 21, 22 we'll probably never see that again.
You might be right.
it probably will be different. But I think where we're at now is where we're at in 18 and 19.
Yes.
It's so much happened in those 3 years. We have forgot what normal selling and normal landscaping was like.
You're right.
Because it feels like it's been a decade ago.
Right.
But it was only 5 years ago.
Exactly.
It's, we all know COVID and
right.
It's like every day. So there's that. So we're just readjusting to normal in my eyes.
I love what you're saying there.
And from a sales perspective, the size that we are now, you and I can't put it in the win column.
We could will it in the win column to get to 5 or 6 maybe.
million.
Yeah, but not 13 and a half or 14.
14 million.
No way.
Because last year we were both selling, and I think I forget the number we both came up with, and looked at that. If we were a $4 million company, that would have been a huge contribution. It's like it's not that large anymore.
No.
So expanding from, and I say this, a company I view as just organization. I'm not even going to use the word organization, but they're producing a widget. It's reliant on one person. When you become an organization, it becomes a team working together.
I see.
And it's different. It's not reliant. And one of our big items is always be networking. We all need to be networking. So starting out the year, the entire leadership team, we have to go on at least 2 networking events a month. The entire sales team has to do it. Bill, our fleet manager, is even networking. They're trying to bring in more leads. It's the phone's only going to ring so much for the 14 million we need to sell.
Right.
We need to start developing leads that bring us work in 18 months, 2 years, and 3 years.
And we've been successful. Like, I'm not going to get into all the details, but we spent $67 on a lunch. And it looks like that lunch may bring us in a couple $1 million worth of work.
Yes.
It's crazy. What happens?
When was that lunch? March, April?
I think it was May, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd have to look. You're better with dates than I am.
I'll have to share and get the receipt.
Exactly. But we're joking, like that one lunch has led to all this work just by getting out. And we're making everybody do networking. And I think for some of our folks,
what's been neat is a lot of them are starting to enjoy it.
That's what I was just going to say. It was uncomfortable for them, but they're finding out this isn't so bad. Like, I kind of like this.
Yes.
And we're asking everybody to do that. So let's finish this up with growth. Anyone that thinks growth is this,
it's not.
It's not. I like to explain it as steps. Like, you get a run, you go. Oh man, we're going to have to figure this out. Bam. All right, we're going to grow. Growth's not linear. When you say growth isn't linear, what do you mean by that?
So, and I fall into this. I like everything just being ordered and ready to go. And we were talking about buying our trucks for next year, and we're going to do it in May. And that way, as soon as March hit, they're on the road ready to go. And then we're sitting here going, well, we still have this much left to sell.
Yep.
I'm analyzing that.
Yep.
So we got to close that gap. We got to sell this much for next year while still closing that first initial gap. And then we're going to say we're going to spend $500,000 on capital right now, just so it's all perfectly in order in March.
Right.
Or we're going to have to use a pickup truck and a Bobcat trailer.
Right.
Not the most efficient, but if we're only doing that for a couple of months, suck it up and deal with it.
Right.
It's never perfectly in order.
Well, we had a mowing crew going out of here with a pickup truck and a Bobcat trailer. It looks kind of silly, but it's what worked.
Yeah, it's worked.
It's what worked. It's what we had to do.
Yeah.
So you do it.
Yeah.
We have a contract here that we think we're going to get. It's a pretty large contract. We're going to need another truck and mowers. We're not going to pay cash for that. We're going to take a loan to do that, to be blunt with everybody. So what do? Well, I don't think we're going to do that. Let's save up a little money and we'll tell them we'll come back to them in 2. No, you can't grow like that.
Win the contract and then exceed expectations and keep the contract.
Right.
Keep the client happy.
Right.
Follow through on what you said you're going to do and keep the contract. And before you know it, the truck's paid for in 2 years and it's done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it does involve some risk. But again, like, ladies and gentlemen, the best investment is always in yourself. I mean, what do you and I know the most about?
Landscaping.
Exactly. That's where we should put our focus. And I know some contractors, like, they do store and locks and they do other things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but we're all in on this. We know this the best, and maybe
you know how my hyper-focused ability goes.
Yeah.
Hyper-focused and go.
And what we're finding is at the rate we're growing, we need every penny we can get to put back towards that growth. I mean, it takes a lot of investment financially.
And especially when the chunks that we're starting to grow, so we grew by tightening up our operational efficiency.
Right. A lot of slop, as you say.
A lot of slop in it. And we only added one truck to do that.
Right.
Now we're only going to find so much slop now.
Right. It's been all engineered out.
We do find some with scale.
Right.
The larger we get, the more efficient at times. But now we are having to invest heavily in capital to continue to grow at these 3 million, 4 million chunks every year. That's a lot.
Yes.
It takes a lot of cash to fuel that.
Yes, it does. I always want to be sensitive to the smaller landscape contractor that listens to the Grow Show. Number one, it's the right thing to do, but I can remember back when I was small. If you were $1 million a year contractor, and I know at one time you were part of an organization like that too, what do you think the takeaways are from today? Is there anything different? Does it matter? Does the size really matter in leadership?
I was hanging with a friend Saturday night, and he's in the industry, and his company's about a third of us.
Right.
And we were joking about how similar we were talking through.
Yep.
Different leadership, different crunches on time. And we laughed and said the only difference is the amount of zeros on the end of what we're managing.
Right.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
And the cash flow,
right.
AR.
Right.
His AR he was talking about, it's out, and I'm like, so is ours right now. The difference is just
some zeros.
Just more zeros.
Still the same problem.
Still the same.
Right.
Same problem and same blocking and tackling that needs to be done.
See it, and I see that in everything we opened up about leadership. We opened up about a grow meeting. So you're $1 million a year and you have 10, 12 employees. You're telling me you can't get them all together? I mean, it's probably a little bit easier to make points with a small group. You're more of a speedboat. The bigger you get, it's a little bit harder to get that organization to implement change.
And it's taking the time.
Yeah.
So we dedicate the time and resources to it. And even for $1 million company, they can say, well, that's X number of dollars. It's the same for us. It's just more zeros.
Right, exactly.
We just decided we have to do it if we're going to grow.
Right.
And we made a conscious effort towards growing. And I was a big proponent of changing our mission statement because it didn't focus on the team.
Exactly.
And you can't keep clients happy. And
No.
You can't grow without a team.
No.
And now, I remember you and Vince talking to me and you asked about what stress is. And I was like, well, my biggest stress is continuing to grow.
Right.
Or then I'm not living up to what we say we're going to do every morning on the back path.
Exactly.
Is provide opportunities for the team.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is the greatest attribute a leader can have is that they're great at the things they want their followers to be good at. Your words have to matter, and then the actions got to back them up. And we can't talk about growth and creating opportunities, and then we're a stagnant pond.
We don't do it.
We don't do it.
Or we shy away from a big contract.
Right. Exactly.
Because we don't know.
Right.
Well, what's that going to do if we tell a salesperson don't go after that big contract?
Right. He'll never do that again.
It's gonna.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna talk about growth, and
right. And then you told me you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Right. You mean I can't go get this contract because we don't have enough trucks? And there is a certain point where you got to. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But in this case, this one's a no-brainer.
It's 5 minutes away.
Right. It's a no-brainer.
It's another plus.
Yeah. Exactly.
But and not only that is they've been after us.
Yeah. They want us to do.
They
the
want
work.
us.
Right.
Pretty bad to do the work. And they only signed a 1 year for this year because last year we did tell them.
Right.
They came late.
It was too late.
It was too late,
and take it on.
I didn't know how we're going to get
a
team.
Right.
I didn't know how we're going to get the trucks, but now we've had the time, and I said, go for it.
Yeah. Go get it.
They called back in May, said, please next year.
Right.
Did it. So
and that's that's rewarding. That's fun.
Yes,
we're growing
absolutely.
And we're still doing good work. Good name in the marketplace. We're keeping our clients. We're not having a tremendous amount of turnover in our team or our clients, which those arguably are the two most important metrics. Is turnover of your team would be symptomatic of your culture and does somebody want to work there? Turnover of clients would be symptomatic of the quality that you're doing, and we're doing good in those both things.
It's neat that we have some college students back for their fourth.
Yeah, that is
one
cool.
graduated.
Yeah,
and he's
still
like, well,
back.
He giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we're going to come back. And he's like, well, the academy doesn't start for another 8 months.
Yeah.
And I love
super
working
nice
here.
Kid.
Yeah, super nice.
Maybe he'll just stay forever.
I know.
We
I
would
keep
like
joking.
that.
I'm like, you going to stay now?
Yeah, we would like that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share before we wrap it up?
Should I?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think everybody always enjoys hearing the perspective.
I
So
like to keep it simple.
Well,
that's what I'll share.
you keep it simple. I will share this, ladies and gentlemen. Seth's going to be teaching at Grow in Columbus, February 24th, 25th, 26th. We're going to be touring Hidden Creek Landscaping. If you like what Seth had to say, he'll be there live and in color. He's been known to share.
Cool.
Hidden Creek is going to be cool.
I'm excited about
Jason
that.
does a nice job up there, multidiscipline, great marketplace fun. Seth has been known to have a Voodoo Ranger or two, or a what's your other one? Dragon's Milk or two.
It's milk with knee.
Milk, yeah, with
Milk.
a knee. Dragon's Milk.
Yeah.
Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
Folks, that's going to do it for The Grow Show this week, powered by Steel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to The Grow Show, and if you can, give it a rating or share a comment. That helps other success-minded landscape professionals find us. And if you really want to help us, share this episode with your team. You can text it to them right now, or any landscape pro you know. Thanks for joining us on The Grow Show. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Steel, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.